Welcome, everyone. The Lake Lewis Show right here on Sports Journey Media. Appreciate you joining me today. Happy Wednesday to you out there, January 15th. We've got a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about on today's show. Coaching moves, a lot of them being made right now in the NFL. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of some of the moves. I'm a big fan of a couple of the moves. Maybe you're a fan of a couple of the moves. But the NFL right now seems to me that they're doing the same thing that they've done for a long time, and they're starting to recycle and retread some of the same old names. Yes, teams like the Washington Redskins, where I sit right here locally in Ashburn, Virginia, have gone out and made some changes, bring in Jay Gruden. And then today, it's official. Sean McVay, tight ends coach or former tight ends coach for the Washington Redskins, is now the new offensive coordinator for the Washington Redskins. So that's a young name. He's 27 years old, a name that a lot of people outside of this market don't know about. But in talking to a lot of the players here, they've said one of the guys is offense. So I think that's a good move for them, and they've done something that's different. Again, do something different if you're a team in the NFL, and that's not to recycle the same old names. Today, new coaching move being made in Minnesota. You have Mike Zimmerman becoming the new, or Mike Zimmer, I'm sorry, becoming the new head coach in Minnesota. And Mike Zimmer, everyone knows that he orchestrated some great defenses in Cincinnati. And let me rephrase that. Some really good defenses in Cincinnati. I don't want to keep throwing that word great out to just anybody or anything. You look at 4 of the past 5 years, his defenses have really, made that team a playoff caliber football team. He's going to get the opportunity in Minnesota. Some of the names that we're hearing right now, as far as possible candidates for offensive coordinator on his staff, one of those names, Norv Turner. And it just seems to me that Norv Turner pops up everywhere. He was this year's past offensive coordinator in Cleveland, and we all know that Rob Chajinski was unceremoniously let go there after 1 year. Shame on you, Cleveland. We're not going to get into that. But Norv Turner was there, and I guess he wasn't happy with the way that whole thing unfolded. And kudos to him, because I think that is a good thing that he did step up and didn't really like the situation at hand there. So look for him to move. Is he going to be the new offensive coordinator in Minnesota? That remains to be seen. However, another name that's surfacing is Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, again, former offensive coordinator right here where I sit in Ashburn with the Washington Redskins. Kyle Shanahan, I think, will be a dynamic offensive coordinator as long as he's not in the shadows of his dad. If you think about Kyle Shanahan in Houston, yeah, a lot of people know that maybe Gary Kubiak was really calling the plays, was really maybe the force driving that great offense back then. But Kyle Shanahan had a lot to do with that as well. So let's not take anything away from his coaching acumen as far as running an offense. Remember, this Washington Redskins offense, even this year, finished as a top 10 offense. Last year, number 1 rushing offense in the league. And I think this year they finished at number 2 or 3. So they can run the football. And guess what they have in Minnesota? A guy by the name of Adrian Peterson, perhaps the greatest of all time. One of the greats, if not the greatest of all time. So if you're in Minnesota and you're looking at this and you're looking at possibly going younger, then I think you got to go with Kyle Shanahan. I think if you're looking for bringing someone in there that just knows how to run offenses and knows how to, I guess you say X and O's with the best of them, some of these up-and-coming D coordinators, then I think maybe you go with Norv Turner. Mike Mularkey is a name that's surfacing as well, so we'll see how that plays out. Yesterday, Ken Whisenhunt named head coach in Tennessee with the Titans, and I think that he's done a remarkable job as far as putting himself back in position to be a head coach. I thought he did a really good job when he was in Arizona. Things don't work out sometimes and you have to make change. I thought they were quick to pull the plug on him. However, it worked out for them well this year, bringing in Bruce Arians. Ken Whisenhunt, I think, will be a very good acquisition in Tennessee. And let's face it, Tennessee was a very vanilla offense. They had a lot of injuries, but everyone knows that they have a great running back there in Chris Johnson. They have an up-and-coming young quarterback, if he can stay healthy, in Jake Locker. So I think Ken Whisenhunt looks at the situation where, heck, he's even got some wide receivers out there as well. he has some pieces in place that I think he knows that he can win. And let's not forget that they have a really good young defense. So Tennessee goes out. I'm going to say it, though. It's a retreaded name. No offense to Ken Whisenhunt, because I do think he's a good coach. I just said it a second ago. But I do think that the NFL, some teams aren't doing their due diligence here. I understand in any situation, I'm guilty of it right here with this company, that you're going to bring in people you're comfortable with. You're going to work with people that you're comfortable with. I understand that. I get it. But I think that sometimes people are so much afraid of change, and maybe positive change, that sometimes you don't have a chance to evaluate what success is. And I say that because sometimes when you know what success and failure is, you can see a bigger picture. If you look at an organization and see that the organization hasn't done something properly and it's continued to, get in the way of its own shadow, then maybe you have to, assess it a little differently. And I think right now, a lot of these teams around the NFL are sticking to a good old boy network. It doesn't have anything to do with race or anything like that. It's just, familiarity. It's being comfortable with the people around you. And sometimes it's good not to be comfortable with the people around you. I know that may sound crazy, but sometimes when you have difference of opinions, it makes people push harder to do something. I'm not sure if a lot of these teams in the NFL are doing that right now. We're going to see some more changes. You look at a guy like Lovie Smith. I think Lovie Smith's a really good coach. I'm not saying he's not, but he's a retread. Make no mistake about it. You can't tell me that there's other Sean McVays around the NFL. You can't tell me when you look at some of these young coaches that took their organizations by the horns and won and are winning currently. You look at Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. I remember when he was hired there were fans in Pittsburgh that were ready to burn Pittsburgh down. They weren't happy about it. They didn't know who he was. But you know what? The Rooneys did. And the Rooneys did their due diligence, and they found that this guy was dynamic, that he had the same, wants in life and the same beliefs in the way you run a football operation as they did. And obviously, they've been successful. He has a Super Bowl to his name. You go to Philadelphia. They brought in a young coach last year that they thought needed an opportunity, a guy that had never coached in the NFL. And all he did was have that team win the division this year. And the future looks bright in Philadelphia. Green Bay, Mike McCarthy, the same thing. A guy that had been on a staff and had paid his dues. Young offensive coordinator, and he gets his opportunity, and bam, you see what they're doing. There are other names that are out there right now, folks. Names like Darrell Bevell up in Seattle, Greg Roman in San Francisco. I actually thought those two guys would be perfect hires here in D.C. I think if you look at what they have in mobile quarterbacks, guys that they've made play the game at a high level, physical football teams, that's what you want here in D.C. Am I saying I'm not sold on Jay Gruden? I'm not saying that. I think he's going to be a good coach. I really do. But I'm not sure that the staff that's being put together across the board, if it's some of the same old names that have been here and you're doing it because you're comfortable with guys, I don't know if I like that. If you're doing it because you think they're hell of, good coaches, okay, then yeah, let's roll with it. But sometimes these guys are so used to having to work with people they're comfortable with, as opposed to doing your due diligence, finding that next great young assistant, that next great young coordinator, that next great young coach. We'll see how a lot of these moves play themselves out. If you live in New England right now, you're holding your breath. Not because of the cold weather, not because of your opponent coming up Sunday at Denver. No, it's because your franchise, your everything, your best player, Tom Brady, did not practice today. Word is Tom Brady is under the weather. Can you imagine if Tom Brady is so sick that it affects his play, if he plays at all, on Sunday? And I'm saying that to scare people. Tom Brady's going to play, folks. But let's just say, for whatever reason, Tom Brady does have the flu. Tom Brady has, whatever illness there is, and he can't play. Can you imagine the letdown around the NFL right now? Because this is a game that everyone, if you're talking about must-see football, this weekend's conference championship games, there's 2 must-see football games. I don't care if you like any one of these teams. This is football played the way you want to see it. If you like high-flying offenses, you're going to get that. You're going to get that and then some. If you're, a person that wants to see 40 points on the board, you may get that in New England and Denver. If you want to see hard-nosed football, hard-hitting defenses, trash-talking all over the field, you're going to get that. You're going to get that in the NFC Championship game with Seattle and San Francisco. 2 compelling styles of games. And I think that this weekend is a football fan's heaven. This is the best you can get. No matter who wins, no matter who loses, you should get 2 very good football games. And I already said this. I'm not a big fan of the Super Bowl in New York. No offense to all my friends and family up in New York, but I'm just afraid that you may get inclement weather and it would destroy everything. However, regardless of that, regardless of the side notes, as far as the game itself, you're going to have a Super Bowl regardless of who's in it that you can't go wrong now. There's not going to be any mystery team. There's not going to be any sleeper team. There's not going to be any upcoming team that maybe is a year or 2 away that got lucky and got there. No, you have 4 heavyweights. You have 4 great coaches. You have 4 great quarterbacks. You have 4 superstar organizations. Perhaps the 4 or 5 best organizations in football. They're on display right now. You cannot have a better weekend than this. I'm not giving you my predictions until Friday. As you always know, Jesse White comes on with myself. We're going to have him come on. We'll break down the conference championships. We'll give you our predictions on who's going to be in this year's Super Bowl in New York City in 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks. It's still Wednesday, but I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to seeing who makes that trip. I'm excited because, as I said, regardless of what the weather can be, and I hope it doesn't snow. I hope it's not raining. I want to see, a neutral site where there's no little side notes that's going to affect the way the game is played, but just let the teams go at it and let the best team win. But I think we're on the verge of something really good here, something really good. The NFL could not have drawn this up any better. Let me know your thoughts, as always, folks, via social media, as you see right there on the screen, Sports Journey. All you have to do is go to Twitter. You can go to Facebook. You can go to YouTube. Everything's there under Sports Journey. Make it very simple for you. I think right now that with the NFL, they're going to capture everyone's attention. The concussion issue is going to come up. You're going to have a lot of negativity come up because this is where people obviously get their agendas hidden. Their hidden agendas come out. But the NFL right now has an opportunity to do something that they do really well. And what that is, my friends, are they market their stuff. They market their product, probably better than most. Well, you have a chance now to have kind of a celebratory, a setup. I don't want to say a going out situation or better yet, a swan song, see you later with Peyton Manning or Tom Brady for that matter. But let's face it, folks, how many times are we going to get a chance to witness this again? How many times are we going to get a chance to see Brady Manning or Manning Brady, whoever you like first? How many times are we going to get a chance to see perhaps the 2 best quarterbacks of all time? We're not. You may get one next year. But we're talking about guys that are getting up there in age, 36, 37 years old. Peyton Manning still is going to have a physical after the year to make sure that he doesn't have a degenerative neck, from his surgery. That's real. These guys I can see playing at a high level for another 2-3 years, but who's to say that they're going to play each other? And who's to say that they're going to play each other for all the marbles? This is about as well drawn up situation that you can possibly have. So I think if you're the NFL right now, the NFL has an opportunity to really market this, and they have a chance to really make it a celebration of 2 great quarterbacks. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this. Not a fan of either team, but you know what? I'm a big Tom Brady is the best ever fan. I've said that. People have taken me to task on that throughout the names of Montana and, other guys, Peyton Manning, for who's playing against him. I say this, though. Peyton Manning needs to win this football game more than Tom Brady does. And if you think he doesn't, you're kidding yourself. You're fooling yourself. Peyton Manning needs to exorcise the demons of Tom Brady. Tom Brady has had the best of him as far as playoff matchups. Maybe you can say Tom Brady's had the better teams. Some people can say he had better defenses. I don't know. I don't care. All I know is at the end of the day, there's a W and there's an L, and Peyton Manning has had more L's than Tom Brady. If Peyton Manning does not, and I'm going to say this one more time, if Peyton Manning does not win the Super Bowl this year, if Peyton Manning, let me make that even easier for you, if he does not beat Tom Brady on Sunday, Tom Brady goes down as the better quarterback than Peyton Manning. And I say that with a straight face. I look right in the camera and say that. Tom Brady goes down as the better quarterback. And the reason for that is because when you put the two best against each other and one is having lopsided results, he's better. I'm sorry. If you put Tom Brady on the Denver Broncos of this year with that offense, with that firepower, with the Thomas guys, with Decker, with Welker, with Noshawn Marino and Monty Ball, and you name it. You put Tom Brady behind center on that team, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to score over 500 points. They're going to lead the NFL in every category, just like Peyton Manning did with that team himself. I'm not sure if you put Peyton Manning, though, on New England, if you get the same results that Tom Brady's given New England this year. I understand different schemes, different type of quarterbacks. I understand that, and I get that. But for the sake of this program, for the sake of Sports Talk Radio, I'm saying to you right now, Tom Brady's the better quarterback. I'm saying to you right now, Tom Brady has won more with less. Yes, I said that. The greatest year Tom Brady ever had, when he had surefire Hall of Famers with him, they went undefeated in the regular season. Yeah, they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl. But if you look at the guys running around for Tom Brady right now, those guys were not highly drafted, if drafted at all. You look at the guys running around with Peyton Manning now, maybe the same scenario, believe it or not. Some of those guys weren't highly drafted compared to, their counterparts. I think Demaryius Thomas was a third rounder. Could be wrong about that. But we're talking about guys that have had talent, and they were scouted to have talent. Not the same with New England. Not at all. New England, if you look at some parts of the game, I can say this, and I'm saying this in jest and in fun, but if you look at New England, at some parts of the game on offense, if you look at their backfield and then look at everyone else, they have one black player out there, period. A bunch of little small white guys running around, and I'm saying that in fun. Those players can play, yes, but they're being coached. They're being coached to play great. And that, to me, is what separates Bill Belichick. That, to me, is what makes him, the Vince Lombardi of this day. This guy is an X's and O's guy, makes a lot of changes. Yeah, some people say the guy cheated in the past. I don't buy that, because I look at it like, if that was your coach for your team, you'd take him, and you'd take him in a heartbeat. So, look, let's take a break. And when we come back, we're going to fix this. We're going to continue to talk about the NFL right now, conference championships, conference, games that I think that if you go back to the beginning of the year, these were the games that a lot of people were talking about as far as, the teams that possibly could win this year's Super Bowl. So more to come right here on the Lake Lewis Show. Hang tight.
Let me tell you some of the reasons people get into trouble with credit cards. A job loss or salary cut, an unexpected expense, a divorce, a business loss, or even helping a family member or friend in need. At Consolidated Credit, we understand that debt problems are not about overspending. It's about emergencies and unexpected situations. Consolidated Credit has helped over 5 million people, just like you. The options for getting out of debt have never been better. We can reduce your interest rates, cut your monthly payments, and help you get out of debt fast. The time to call Consolidated Credit is now. There are a lot of ways to get into trouble with debt. There's only one trusted way to get out: Consolidated Credit. When debt is the problem, we are the solution.
Call Consolidated Credit now.
Call toll-free 1-800-426-6016. That's 1-800-426-6016. Call now.
Medical emergencies.
This is Life Alert. Are you okay?
I've fallen and I can't get up.
I'm calling for help right now. Sharon, we received a smoke signal coming from your kitchen. Get out now. We're calling the fire department.
Home invasion. Emergencies away from home.
I'm trying to get to my car, but it's still a ways away.
I'm right here and we'll stay on the line with you and we can contact the police if necessary.
And you can have this protection away from home for just $19.95 per month.
If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Life Alert saves a life from a catastrophe every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-830-1951. That's 1-800-830-1951. Call now 1-800-830-1951. For a free brochure, call 1-800-830-1951.
Welcome to Hooters. Right this way. Wednesday is Wings Day at Hooters. Get 10 boneless wings and fries for just $6.99.
Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Are you worried about home foreclosure? Does it seem like the bank has no interest in helping you save your home and there is nowhere to turn? Then the Homeowners Relief Line could be your answer. Homeowners Relief Line can help save your home. We specialize in foreclosure assistance, and that's all we do. If you're behind on your mortgage payments, being threatened with foreclosure, have been denied a loan modification, or been the victim of a predatory loan, it's critical that you call Homeowners Relief Line now. Homeowners Relief Line has a network of attorneys, and our agents are available to speak to you right away. Remember, if you are behind on your mortgage payments, Homeowners Relief Line can help stop the foreclosure process. Call today before it is too late. New laws are in effect that may save your home. So call Homeowners Relief Line now.
Call 800-749-8070. That's 800-749-8070.
NCAA women's basketball. All day, every day, our game. Filling it up, knocking them down, and bringing it home. It's basketball at its purest. For family fun and great entertainment, there's nothing like it. NCAA women's basketball. All day, every day, our game.
All right, folks, welcome back. Lake Lewis Show right here on Sports Journey Media. Had an email that came through during the break, and people are already starting to see that's the problem. As always, folks, you can follow me on Twitter, on Facebook at Lake Lewis. On Facebook, it's actually Lake Lewis Jr. And then, as always, you can follow us here on Sports Journey via Facebook or YouTube or whatever you want to do at Sports Journey. Very simple stuff. So look, folks, we had an email come through from Gary, and of course we got to get back to our email thing here.
You've got mail, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to bring that back, folks. We used to do that a long time. Well, Gary says this is good. I mean, this is really good. Gary says, Lake, could Tom Brady's illness be a ploy by Bill Belichick to get in Peyton Manning's head? You know, for a split second when I read that, it made me think, could it be? Could it be? I don't know. I can't answer that. All I can say is that if he's doing it, he's even more of a genius than I thought he is. I mean, it could be. Let's play, two sides to this, okay? Let's just play devil's advocate. Let's just say he is doing it that way to further get in Peyton's head. I'll say this. Tom Brady is in Peyton Manning's head. Make no mistake about it. More or less, the New England Patriots are in Peyton Manning's head because he understands what I said in the first segment before we went to break. He understands that he has to produce. He has to win with this Denver Broncos team right now. So now, if you're Bill Belichick, maybe you're giving him a little bit something to think about. Maybe you're taking a guard down, not just so much with Peyton Manning, but maybe with the Denver Broncos as a whole. Maybe that defense is now, confused, so to speak, that Tom Brady could be ill. Now, let's go to the other side, the side that you're conscious, the side that's your brain speaking. No, the guy just has a minor illness. That's what everyone's saying. It's a minor illness, a little under the weather, not much. And as I said before, there's no way Tom Brady is not playing come Sunday. There's no way that guy, will miss this game. There's just no way. He will be on the field. That's my brain speaking there as well. Now, it's not that big, but I say that he will be playing. So, Gary, good good email. That was good. I like that. As always, folks, hey, if you want to email me, a little old school now, but we still accept emails. If you want to email me, you can email us at shows@sportsjourney.com. Shows, SHOWS, at sportsjourney.com. And we will try to read your email on live air because we don't get a lot of emails. All right. Coming up a little bit later on today, we're going to have a former NFL player, Philip Daniels. You can check him out on Twitter at Philip Daniels. Philip Daniels doing some great things now. He's in the sports supplement company now in the business there, where he's done a great job with his own company, Demolition Sports. And I'm going to have to get the demolition thing up. We're going to have to get that for me, guys. Get the demolition thing up so I can put that up and show everyone what he's doing. But he'll be on a little bit later on. And we'll get his take on some of the college football news going on out there. And it affects him somewhat because his son, starting wide receiver at Notre Dame, DeVaris Daniels. So we'll get his take. Notre Dame new offensive coordinator. I don't know if you want to call him new because he's already in the building there. Promotion for one of their assistants now becomes the offensive coordinator. Get his thoughts on that. Also on Penn State, my school. That's right, folks. Good hire for us. I think a great hire for us. I'm excited about that. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on in today's show as well. If I were to ask you beginning of the year, all these schools that schools of thought that you can think about as far as what teams will get to the Super Bowl, most people would say that it's going to probably come down to Seattle, San Francisco. Most people would probably have said Denver and maybe New England. I don't know if most people thought New England was going to be that good this year. I'm not sure. But I will say this. How can you not? How can you count against them? But I think most people were looking at Denver to be a team that had an opportunity now with Peyton Manning being a full year, back, health-wise, having his arm strength back. Just a full, solid season in Denver. Now, I think most people thought that they would be there. I was really trying to think of other teams that people thought could challenge. Maybe the Redskins if RG3 was healthy. I don't think people thought they were Super Bowl material. Playoff material, yeah. Maybe the Cowboys. Playoff material, Super Bowl material, not sure. New York Giants, maybe. Green Bay Packers, I think some people thought maybe they could be a team that could challenge for the Super Bowl. But the consensus, I think it was these four teams that we have left. And that's why I don't know if we've seen this over the past few years. We've had some surprises over the past few years get to the championship games. The Baltimore Ravens were not supposed to be there last year in a lot of people's opinion. As far as the conference championship game against New England, remember, that was supposed to be Denver. So we were technically supposed to see this matchup that we're going to see Sunday. We were supposed to have already seen this. This should be like a sequel, but we're not. We're getting it for the first time. Somewhat, because we've already seen, as I said, we've already seen Peyton and we've already seen Tom Brady. But if you look at the matchups here, this is Pro Bowl City. This is some of the best players on both sides of the ball. It's a shame if you're in Denver that Von Miller won't be participating in this game because clearly you could have used his pass rush just going at Tom Brady and all the different things that they bring on that offense. But if you look at the rest of these guys, there's Pro Bowlers all over the place. If you go back to the San Francisco-Seattle game, I mean, you could probably field your starting defense in the Pro Bowl, literally. You think about the front seven in San Francisco and the back four in Seattle, literally. You could have your starting Pro Bowl defense made up just of these two teams and legitimately be okay with it. I'm serious. Legitimately feel like, you know what? Yeah, this is good. These matchups give, again, the NFL something to look forward to. It gives us as fans something to look forward to. And it's an excitement that's there that I'm not sure if we've had this for a long time. You know, people are looking forward to these games. People can't focus. If you're a diehard football fan, it just doesn't get any better than this. It really doesn't. I think, obviously, the winner of these games are going to be well-deserved to get to the Super Bowl. They're going to have earned it. Make no mistake about it. And I think it's going to make the Super Bowl that much better. Again, barring inclement weather, we should have a very competitive Super Bowl with two teams that have really come through the gamut to get there. You know, this is going to be probably one of the best Super Bowls that I think we're going to witness in a long time, literally. And I think that's a good thing for New York, considering that it's going to be an outdoor, cold, maybe bad weather game. This is going to be a good thing. So really looking forward to the way that plays itself out. And switching gears here, there was some movement in the NBA today that I'm not sure I'm understanding why it was done. I tried to put my head to this one. You had the Boston Celtics trading Jordan Crawford and Marshawn Brooks to Golden State, 3-team deal that sent Tony Douglas to the Miami Heat, the world champion Heat, and Joel Anthony from the Heat, and 2 draft picks to the Boston Celtics. So it looks to me as if when you look at this, Golden State is trying to solidify their bench a little bit, that they're trying to give the Splash Brothers, Steph Curry, a good backup point guard in Jordan Crawford, because let's face it, Steph Curry has had, some issues of being brittle, so to speak, having that ankle not hold up, especially in the playoffs. So Jordan Crawford would give them an adequate backup. And hopefully, I'm sure if you're Mark Jackson, their head coach, he doesn't want him to have to ever be their starter, but he does give you an option just in case that were to happen. Klay Thompson, one of the great 2 guards, young scorer in the league. Jordan Crawford also can move over to the 2-guard spot, and I know this because I covered him. Obviously, I cover the Washington Wizards, who will be playing against Miami tonight. We'll have coverage from the facility there with Evan and Michael from Sports Journey doing a great job breaking down the Wizards for us as well. So with that said, Jordan Crawford gives them, a guy that can play both positions. I think that's a good move on their part. Marshawn Brooks, a guy that really never got an opportunity. I remember he was a guy that could score the ball when he was at Providence. I think he led the Big East in scoring one year, if I'm not mistaken. But ever since he got to the Nets, and first year as a rookie, they were in New Jersey. And then obviously last year in Brooklyn and this year in Brooklyn, he's a guy that just, wasn't able to do much. And then when he got traded at the beginning of the year, to Boston, it looked like it was going to be a good fit for him. I thought that he was going to be a guy that was going to be able to expand his game a little bit, because let's face it, Boston, no Rondo playing, who's going to be coming back. We'll talk about that briefly. But we're talking about a guy, Marshawn Brooks, that was going to get an opportunity to score, and it just didn't work. So he goes back. He goes out west with Jordan Crawford, and we'll see how that plays out. Now, if you're the Miami Heat here, interesting to me how that's going to shape up, because you get Tony Douglas, a guy that I'm not sure what he gives you at this point. Maybe he gives you an alternative off the bench. Ray Allen struggles at times. He's a streaky guy at this point in his career. Maybe you get a Tony Douglas who's a little bit more athletic, that can slash to the basket a little bit more. But to me, this looks as if Miami's trying to, and shipping a first and a second to Boston, really for nothing. It looks to me like this is a team that knows that the LeBron watch is on. They're trying to make sure that they keep this core nucleus of Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh together. They've produced 2 championships in a row. They're going for a 3-peat this year. And they understand that LeBron James could opt out and go back to Cleveland, as some think he's going to do, or maybe he's the heir apparent to Kobe in L.A., who knows. But whatever they're doing, it looks as if they're trying to free up some money so that way they can keep their guys together, their core nucleus of guys. And then if you're Boston, you're stockpiling draft picks. You're freeing up money to maybe make a run at a LeBron James, a Carmelo Anthony, a Kevin Love, guys that are going to be able to opt out of contracts at the end of the year or next year for that matter. And then on top of that, you inherit draft picks. So if you're Boston, basically right now, you understand that you have a new coach in there right now. The days of the big three are long gone. It's over. So they're in a rebuilding process yet again. And I think the Celtics understand in order for them to get competitive quickly, they're going to need draft picks. They're going to need some young players. And let's face it, this year's draft is the draft that people have been talking about for a long time, that if you're in the top 7 or 8 picks in this year's first round, you should get a young impact player. That's the way this is. That's how deep this draft is. And I think if you're the Celtics, you realize that. So you're trying to put yourself in position to either, hey, one, make a splash in free agency because you have cap space, or secondly, draft your guys and build a young nucleus of talent and get Boston to be competitive again. So when I first saw the trade, wasn't sure with it, wasn't sure what was the motive of this, but nevertheless, it was done, and that's where we are right now. As far as the NBA is concerned, the NBA right now is starting to heat up. I mean, you're starting to see a little bit of a separation as far as teams, as far as certain players. Right now, the buzz is Rondo, trying to come back with Boston, and clearly they're going to need him right now at this point. We just talked about, the state of Boston and where they are right now. But if you look at some of the other teams right now, and what's going on in the NBA, it's no surprise that it's almost what we talked about in the NFL. If I were to ask you the 2 teams that you think in the Eastern Conference were going to be the 2 best teams, clearly you'd say Miami, the defending champion, and most would say the Indiana Pacers. And that's exactly what we're looking at right now. We're looking at, 2 teams that are on a collision course right now. The Miami Heat at 27-10 and the Indiana Pacers at 30-7. And I think the Pacers, are a young, hungry basketball team. They feel like they probably should have, beaten Miami last year. And if you go back 2 years ago in the playoffs, they gave Miami all they could handle when Miami won their first championship en route to winning that first championship. So Indiana feels like they're a team that can really, go toe-to-toe with the best team in basketball. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays itself out. Because, when you look at some of the other teams in the East, the only other team that I can see, that can possibly, make the playoffs and create somewhat of a buzz as far as caliber of play, believe it or not, it's going to have to be one of the New York teams, and that's not going to happen. The Atlanta Hawks are 20-18. They're playing above water right now, and I don't think that they're that good. So the second half of the season could see literally Miami and Indiana in a true runaway. And I would be surprised if that didn't happen. You're going to have, probably 3 or 4 teams in the Eastern Conference make the playoffs with losing records. That's how bad the East is right now. That's the state of affairs in the NBA as far as the Eastern Conference is concerned. Now, the flip side of it is when you get to the West, you're talking about a whole nother realm of basketball possibilities. And for my money, this may be the deepest that the Western Conference has ever been as far as the NBA is concerned. If you look at last year and you look at, years past, you had teams that were good teams, don't get me wrong, but were they championship caliber teams? Well, you knew San Antonio was going to be there. You knew that. But right now, when I'm looking at San Antonio, I'm also looking at other teams. I'm looking at what Portland's doing right now. Portland's doing a ridiculous job as far as where they are right now as a basketball team. I think they're playing well. You still have Houston. People still feel like they're going to get better. You have Oklahoma City that, I could have sworn 2 years ago that when they played the Miami Heat for the championship, for the NBA Finals, I thought that was going to be a matchup we were going to be seeing for years to come. I literally thought that we could have been witnessing the beginning of a Los Angeles Lakers, Boston Celtics type of thing, from the 80s and, from the 80s and early 90s. I thought that that's what we were going to be looking at again. Well, they made some moves. James Harden not there. Jeff Green not there. Guys that I think people forget played. And they're still a great basketball team. Well, remember what I said at the beginning of the show. I don't want to bestow that word great on just anyone or anything. They are a very good basketball team. Great means that you're championship ready. I don't know if OKC is championship ready. I think they have a couple players that are. I'm not sure if their bench is the same bench that we saw 2 years ago. I don't know if Jeremy Lamb, I don't know if those guys are the same quality of what they were bringing off their bench a couple years ago. And we remember last year their bench with Kevin Martin and some of those guys, they didn't get it done. Understand Russell Westbrook went out, and that's a huge part of everything they do in OKC. But their bench at times struggled. Reggie Jackson came off the bench and became a starter and played well, but that wasn't his role. And he's having to do it right now again as Westbrook, has missed some time. But if you look at the West as a whole, even the bad teams are not that bad. If you put Minnesota and Sacramento and those teams in the East, those teams would be playoff caliber teams. That's how deep the West is right now. So, again, the NBA starting to take shape. You're starting to see certain teams, literally come up and they're starting to put themselves, in those positions where, hey, they're going to be there at the end. The Los Angeles Clippers, another team, 26-13 on the year. Golden State, the Splash Brothers, they're only one game behind the Clippers, and quietly, Golden State's starting to get themselves together. They're 25-14. So if you break it down, another surprise team, Phoenix Suns. I think with what they're doing there, unfortunate situation with Eric Bledsoe because he was playing himself into possibly, getting an all-star look. That's how well he was playing. Well, Goran Dragic is the guy now. Goes out and plays great basketball every night. It's actually becoming one of my favorite players. I love his style of play at that point guard position. But if you look at all these teams, Dallas Mavericks 23-16. That's an incredible number when you have teams that would miss the playoffs in the West with winning records. And in the East, you only have three. The top 2-3 teams, Miami, Indiana, and Atlanta at 20-18. After that, everyone losing record. That puts things in perspective. And with that said, that's where I wanted to go with this. The NBA may have to alter their playoff format. They may have to get it to a point where, if you have a losing record and there's other teams out there with winning records, perhaps you shuffle around the lineup of the playoffs. I understand that you have Western Conference teams, you have Eastern Conference teams, but still, maybe you mix it up. Maybe you take some teams from that Western Conference that are closest in proximity and geographical location, demographic-wise, you take them and you put them in the East. So if you're a team like, say, for instance, the Wizards, and you have a losing record, okay, maybe you go down the West right now and you look and you see, who could take their place. Maybe a Houston, maybe a Dallas would be a team that you'd take and move over. I don't know. I'm just giving you some hypotheticals, but I do know this. It's not fair for teams with winning records in a brutal conference by and large to not make the playoffs when bad teams in the East are still losing to bad teams. That's just not a good fit for anyone. So, look, folks, as we always have to do, we've got to take a break. When we come back, we'll switch gears here. The A-Rod saga is going on, and very unfortunate situation. It really is. If you had a chance to look at 60 Minutes last week, I don't know what you take away from it. Then all of them look bad. Major League Baseball, A-Rod, Bosch, the whole nine. All of them look like crumbs, look like criminals. They just look like bad individuals, bad human beings, bad organizations. That's what I got out of this. It's an unfortunate situation, so we'll break that down. We'll dissect that a little bit when we come back. And remember, coming up a little bit later, Philip Daniels, will be coming on, joining us as we break down some college football. We'll talk about some of the new hires, some of the things that are going on in the world of college football. You know what it is, folks. Lake Lewis Show. Hang tight.
If you're disabled and unable to work, pay attention to the following message.
If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be entitled to disability benefits through Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right if you suffer from a physical or mental disability. Whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. You'll be matched up with an advocate who will evaluate your situation, handle your application, deal with Social Security for you, and handle all appeals. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. To get started, call the number on your screen now. And keep in mind, there are a vast number of conditions that make you eligible for disability benefits and dozens of additions that you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call the Citizens Disability Helpline today for a free, no-obligation consultation.
Call 1-800-735-0219. Call now.
Imagine with a simple push of a button, you could be on your way to getting firm, sculpted abs and a sexy waistline with the Contour Core Sculpting System. It's the breakthrough technology that requires no machines, no getting on the floor, no stress, and no strain.
Contour.
The Contour is the real deal.
The secret is Contour's exclusive auto-active muscle toning technology, the digital breakthrough that automatically targets all your abdominal muscles, including your upper abs, lower abs, obliques, and even that stubborn lower belly. Thermographic testing proves Contour activates your entire core. The Contour Core Sculpting System comes with a one-size-fits-all Contour Core Belt, electronic controller with custom digital settings, batteries, and a 1-year warranty, plus an instructional guide and sensible eating plan. And it's all yours to try for 30 days for just $14.95. There's never been an easier, more effective way to get great-looking abs. So call and order right now.
Health insurance update.
This just in for all uninsured Americans with or without pre-existing conditions. The recent health care bill will not take effect until at least 2014, leaving families and individuals lacking health insurance with no immediate solution to their concerns. Meanwhile, medical problems continue to be the #1 cause of bankruptcies. Here's the good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide affordable health insurance for all uninsured Americans, and yes, uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Call the number on your screen now, and in less than 10 minutes, you could receive a choice of affordable plans from the Hotline Network. This is not a discount card. You will have access to doctors, hospitals, dental care, infant care, and emergency services. Call the Health Insurance Hotline now and get you and your family covered today.
Call 800-794-1817. That's 800-794-1817. Call now.
Are you stressed over credit cards and other debts? Maybe through no fault of your own? Imagine how it would feel to have that weight lifted right off your shoulders. Well, here's some good news from America's trusted name in debt relief. Care One providers have already helped over 4.5 million people in debt, and we can help you today. Just call this toll-free number to speak with a friendly representative, and in just minutes, you'll get your free debt relief analysis.
Regardless of your situation, Care One has an option for you.
We are there to help, and we do that in a way that's empathetic and supportive without judging their financial situation.
The credit card companies, I feel, are trying to keep you in debt and trying to keep it so you owe them money forever. And Care One is a good way to get you out of that and get you out of it fast.
A big burden was lifted off of my shoulders.
Care One threw me a lifeline. Call Care One. They will help you.
Get debt relief from a company you can trust. Just call the toll-free number today.
Debt relief.
All right, folks, welcome back. Lake Lewis Show right here on Sports Journey Media. And as always, good friend of mine coming on, as promised, none other than former NFL player Philip Daniels. You can follow Philip on Twitter at Philip Daniels. And he's got a great company right now that he's pushing. And, you know, this is where I should have had the the container in my hands right now, Philip, where we could push Demolition sports nutrition. And listen, I'm taking the product right now, man, and it's been helping me. I got to tell you.
Yeah, man. How you doing? Yeah, it's good, man. It's a good product. Tell you what, man, I got all these records, a lot of people breaking records and stuff around here with the product. Just trying to get all the athletes on it, man. It's the best thing for them, safe. I created it for them so they can be safe. So hopefully everybody will start using it.
Yeah, it's been working. It's been helping me out. So I'm gonna continue to push that. And folks, obviously, we have a link on our website to Demolition, nutrition, and you can go there and check it out and get some of the testimonials. Philip's doing, wonderful thing there, transitioning out of football, being a businessman. Well, look, speaking of football, Phil, there was a lot of coaching changes, a lot of hires. Obviously, you've followed the NFL and some of the stuff going on there. But I wanted to talk to you about college football because you're having some major changes across the landscape there. And obviously, I'd be crazy to not mention my school, Penn State. They go out and get James Franklin, from Vanderbilt. And it's a move that, to me, I think is it has a ripple effect through the Big Ten because let's face it, the coach that had come into the Big Ten and taken it by storm has been Urban Meyer, who came from the SEC, where now you have James Franklin, who's coming from the SEC. Does this look like, kind of the sign of the times right now?
I think so, man. James Franklin is a great coach, and I think Penn State lucky to have him. Definitely going to turn things around for him and keep things going, actually. It's kind of sad to see a coach go that did so well there, but you get another guy coming in there that's going to do really good, and I think Penn State is on the way to doing some great things.
Well, let me ask you this, because one of the issues that I've had is that you get a lot of coaches now who are starting to shuffle around. You're seeing coaches go, coach with guys that they're familiar with. We're definitely seeing it at the pro level right now, but when you see coaches leaving schools and they're going on to get more money, greener pasture, so to speak. What does that say as far as the NCAA right now? Because, people get down on kids, who aren't happy and they want to transfer, or if a kid, suppose that, the kids at Penn State were, people were telling them they need to stay there and show loyalty. Well, what does it say when the coaches leave and get better opportunities and make more money?
It's in between a rock and a hard place, man, because, coaches, you want to better yourselves, and they want to better situations for their families. And sometimes schools won't step to the plate and pay more money. We just had our defense coordinator at Georgia leave and take the same job at Louisville. And it's just, they're just moving forward. If you don't want to pay them, if they don't want to pay the money, it's time to move on and make more money and hopefully, and move up to a head coaching position. So if you're assistant coach in college, it's like, if I can make more money, if I can go out there and get a job that pays me more, then the next step is to move up, But I want to at least be comfortable where I'm at. And I think they're comfortable with with the amount of money they make already. But at the same time, you're looking at a situation where you can better your lives, your lives of your families and things like that. So it's changing that way. But at the same time, there are some loyal coaches out there that stay put and want to stay with the program that got loyalties to their program that doesn't matter what the school there or whatever. But, as you look around, you see more and more people just trying to leave and like better their situation.
Well, I also think, too, with the pro football, changing as far as the way the offenses are played, it looks almost like now glorified college play. You're going to start seeing more college coaches, more college assistants getting opportunities to move up into the pro ranks. And I don't know if that fares well for college football because, well, let's face it, if you look at college basketball has been almost watered down now for the last 5-6 years. Maybe you haven't seen coaches leave college to go coach in the pros, but you've definitely seen players come out after 1 year. I think when you start seeing coaches move around in college football, perhaps now you're going to start seeing players, move on after their sophomore years, something that we probably would have thought would be, insane to do that, 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, it's definitely tough on players when you commit to schools and that coach is the one you want to come play for. That happens in football and basketball. You get in there and now the guy that you was going to coach you your 4 years there, especially in football, is moving on to another place. And it's got to be tough on the athletes to have to stay there and be coached for another, tutored by another coach that you didn't sign up for. So I do see that being a problem because these coaches come in, they tell these guys what they're going to do in 4 years, but the coach is only there one. So it is tough, and it's part of the business. I think the kids have to understand that, but at the same time, I just feel bad for the kids having to go through. And that's why you see a lot of kids leave early. You see a lot of kids try to get out of situations and leave. Sometimes I wonder, are the kids doing the right things to help themselves? Because some kids leave early and they shouldn't. So it is bad both ways. I think for the coaches, look at it as if, I got to go and better myself. But for the kids, they think the coaches, okay, I'm signing with this school. This coach is going to be here while I'm here. We're going to do some great things together, and then they're gone. So it's tough, man. It's a tough situation, but it's part of life. And I guess the kids have to move on just like the coaches have to.
Yeah, one of the other things, and folks, right now we're talking with a former NFL player, Phillip Daniels. You can follow Phillip on Twitter at Phillip Daniels. One of the things that I have a problem with is, and it's not so much to call out the gentleman, but Bobby Petrino. Bobby Petrino is a guy that, people are now saying down at Louisville and people who are vouching for him being the head coach again at Louisville, that, he's a changed man. And, the situation happened in Arkansas where he was having an affair with one of his assistants. That he's learned from that. He's even said himself he's learned from that. You hope it's true. First and foremost, you hope it's true. But what does this say about universities to have this win-at-all-cost approach? Because that's not teaching young people anything, if you ask me. It's almost like saying that you can make a lot of mistakes and you will be forgiven, but yet athletes aren't looked at that way. If they make mistakes, they're expelled from school. They're gone. So I'm confused by this equation here.
Yeah, I know it is kind of crazy. I do think the schools need to be more, lenient with the athletes. They're going to make mistakes. They're kids. They're going to make mistakes.
Sure.
You've seen athletes leave one school, go to another, and you never have another problem out of them. So I just think the schools need to be a little bit better in that aspect of things. But yeah, I think coaches do get opportunities. You get opportunity at other schools, and it's almost like everything they've done is forgotten about. So it's tough, man. I do think people change. I do think situations change, and hopefully, like you said, he's changed, and he's gonna move on to some good things for Louisville there. But at the same time, I just don't, like I say, it's tough, man. It's tough, man. I have to side on, what he's done the last few years. If he stayed out of trouble. At the same time, if they're going to do that for the coaches, you definitely got to do it for the kids. And I think kids are suspended way too much. Mm-hmm. I hate the new rules in the NCAA that suspend kids for games, half of games for hits and stuff like that. And it's just a lot of things, man, going on. It's like, like a lot of moving parts, but some of these things don't need to take place, and I really feel bad for the kids when this directed at them.
Exactly. And, it's only going to get worse because, let's be honest, you have a playoff system coming up now, and it's only 4 teams. So you're going to have, schools and presidents and deans, they're going to be clawing each other at the eyes to make sure that their school's one of those 4 teams competing for this money at the end of the day. So, it's going to be interesting, Phillip, to see how this thing plays out. Real quick here before we wrap it up, as far as some of the NFL moves, Mike Zimmer is going to be the new coach in Minnesota, defensive-minded coach. There's talk of him possibly looking at Norv Turner as his offensive coordinator, Mike Mularkey, or maybe even Kyle Shanahan, a guy you're familiar with. I've said this before. Why is it always the same names that always retread and resurface everywhere in the NFL? More or less than any other professional sport that I see, the NFL is almost the one league that's just afraid to take chances on new young guys.
I agree with you, man. I done sent my application to every team out there, man, and I'm trying to get a job. I know my stuff. I played all these years, and I coach a lot of guys now, and I train a lot of guys on the side, and I can't get an opportunity nowhere, man. I'm just trying to get my foot in the door, and you're right it's about who you know, man. And the thing about it, with a young guy coming in like myself, a lot of times you could know a guy, but he don't want to stick his neck out there for you, and because he's afraid that you might fail. And I'm telling you, everybody that know me, I'm not the type to go and accept failure. That's just not me. I go out and work hard and do the things I need to do. But it's all about who you know. And a lot of these teams are hiring guys that they're familiar with, guys that they've worked with in the past. And that's sad because guys like myself, that was dedicated when I played football, and I went out there and gave a limb and had injuries and played through them and sacrificed everything for the team. You can't get jobs because they want to hire their buddies.
Well,
that's just how it goes, man. I'm not upset with that, but I think the team that for that team that looks at a guy like myself and give me an opportunity and give a guy like me an opportunity to come in there and coach, and some that coach there. I mean, a lot of these coaches, you got to think about it. A lot of these coaches are old school. They're not in tune with what the athletes need today.
Right.
Now, I played for several coaches, and I played for some good coaches, and I played for several coaches that wasn't as good. But at the same time, I was coachable, and that's the thing. I'd rather for somebody to look me in my eyes and tell me the truth than to shy away from it. And that's the kind of coaches I like, and that's the kind of person I am. I'd rather look you in the eyes and tell you the truth rather than tell you something that's not the truth. So I just think, like I said, I just think the teams that put their foot down and say, okay, I'm going to give this guy an opportunity to come in and coach. He's played all these years. He knows his stuff. I'm bringing him in. And that's kind of team that, like I said, I respect those kind of teams. I respect guys that hire these former athletes. I see a couple of athletes coaching now on different teams that are doing really well. And the best coaches sometimes are athletes because how can you coach a position you never played?
Well, I say this too. When you mentioned the comment about, sometimes guys are afraid to give, young guys who haven't done it before an opportunity because they're afraid you're going to fail. Well, Philip, most of the time, the guys who are getting opportunities to coach are getting opportunities because the previous regime that was in before them failed. So it can't get any worse, but it could get a lot better if you give somebody an opportunity. I mentioned earlier in the show today, guys like Mike McCarthy in Green Bay, Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. These were guys that when they were hired, people were asking, who the hell are these guys? And both these guys now have Super Bowl on their finger right now.
Right, exactly.
The other thing is this: if you don't do your due diligence, nothing's going to change. And I've always said sometimes change in things at work is when you have to work with somebody that you're not comfortable with, because maybe you'll find out that you have more in common than you realized. But if you're constantly bringing the same things around the good old boy circuit, I don't see any reason why there will be success with that attitude.
Well, I agree, man. I agree with 100%. I just think, for the people that I know that actually, there are a few people are trying to help me right now because they know me. One of my, I call him a good friend now because I played for him for 10 years, Greg Blige. He's doing all he can to help me get in because he knows what I can do. In the meeting rooms, I coach the meeting rooms, I coach on the field, I coach the young guys on the sideline. That's a guy that knows me, he knows what I can do. But the sad part about it, he's not in the game anymore.
Right.
And I have to rely on people that I know that I played for and came through. But a lot of times these guys won't stick the neck out there. That's sad. But at the same time, man, I know I'll get my opportunity one day. And like I say, like I did when I played, man, I hold grudges, man. You know me. I hold grudges. So when I get my opportunity, man, I face teams, and like I said, I only care for the team that I played for. Yeah. So when I get my opportunity, whoever facing me, they better be ready. I'm gonna have my guys ready. So that's just how I am, man. And like I say, coaching is I'm not coaching an all-star game. I was coaching high school this past year, and I got a knack for it, man. Every kid that's came across that's crossed my path that I coached or helped or anything like that, every kid comes up to me and say, man, we've never learned so much. I'm actually coaching some college kids getting ready for the combine and their draft.
Right.
I'm coaching them right now. I got a session with them in the morning at 8 o'clock, and I went out last week to coach them, and the guys looked at me and said, dude, we didn't, a lot of the stuff that you're teaching us, we never knew. And it's little things, man. It's technique and just little stuff. You got to take steps. And that's why I know, man, because everybody comes up to me and say, Phil, you're going to be a hell of a coach one day. Every one of my former coaches, including Coach Bernie, who's at the Redskins right now. And I remember my last, when I got released by the Redskins, Coach Bernie looked at me and he said, I know a coach when I see one.
Well,
and that says a lot. So I just think it's going to be, when I get my opportunity, I'm just going to run with it and go from there. So hopefully a team will call me and give me an opportunity to come in there and coach their guys, and we'll be good to go.
Well, I mean, when we talk about things that, sometimes you've enlightened me on stuff that, I wouldn't see as far as never having played professional anything. I wouldn't see some of these things that you've seen, and you say things and they actually come true while I'm looking at it matriculate right there in front of you. And I'm like, wow, this stuff really happened. And I also think that, if you're an organization and you're looking for somebody new, you're somebody that played the game. Not too many players can say that they played, for 15, 16 seasons. That tells me that you took care of yourself, that you knew the material in front of you. The other thing is, I like to see who guys played for. Listen, you played for Mike Holmgren. You played for Joe Gibbs. You played for Mike Shanahan. Maybe Shanahan's name right now in this town, tastes like a pickle in your mouth. But at the same time, the guy still has 2 Super Bowls. Joe Gibbs has, 3? Mike Holmgren has 1. So, you're talking about guys that have 6 Super Bowls between them. I would think you picked up something from that.
I tell you what, man, Lake, I actually picked up a little something from every coach I had. Every D-line coach that I had, I picked up a little bit from them. And one thing people gonna tell you when that know me, that's inside the meeting rooms and that coach me and stuff, is that they never had to worry about me on the field. Mm-hmm. That's one thing about me. I'm real. I'm a student of the game. Everything they write on the board, I wrote down. I don't care if you wrote it 100 times. I wrote it down 100 times.
Right.
That's just the way I was. And like I said, man, I know my stuff. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to coach somebody. I just need an opportunity. But yeah, I played for some great coaches, man. I remember Larry Brooks. Larry Brooks was probably one of my favorites. Being up in Seattle, I only played for him 1 year. But because he played the game, Larry Brooks can look at you and say, because we was watching film one day, and I got this block, and it was kind of a crazy block. It's hard to play against a block like that. And so Larry Brooks looked at me and said, Phil, you see this block right here? And I said, what's up? He said, man, go play football. Ain't nothing you can do with this block. And see, I appreciate him being honest like that, knowing because he played, he knew the situation, that he can tell me to go play football, and that's exactly what I did. And that's probably one of my best years as a pro under Larry Brooks, because he was a guy that played, he knew techniques, he knew those little things that he can teach to make me better. And so that's the kind of guy I am, man. I took a little bit from every one of those guys, Larry Brooks, Greg Blush, Rex Norris, all those guys. I can keep naming go down the line. I learned something from those guys, and I take that with me. And so as I go out and teach these young guys about football, everything that they taught me, I'm instilling that in my practices and what I tell those guys so they can be ready to go when they get to the next level. I watch games now on TV, and I can see the mistakes right away. It's just like, man, that's terrible. I be calling it out, and I think my family think I'm crazy sometimes. I be talking to myself. I'm talking about the game, what they did wrong, because I hate to see bad football. Right. That's one thing about me. So if I can, help some kids be better and help them learn the game the way it's supposed to be learned, then I'm all for that, man. So hopefully I get an opportunity, man. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully I get a call.
Well, I'm pretty sure it'll happen, my friend. And as I said, man, I know a coach when I see one too, so I'm sure it will happen. So we'll see how everything plays out, folks. Philip Daniels, a former NFL player, like I said, played over 15 years in the league. Clearly he's passing it on. He's got some youngsters right now doing well. One starting wide receiver at Notre Dame, DeVaris Daniel. So he's an up-and-coming Daniel. You got your young son right now that you and DeVaris say could be better than both you guys at that age. So that's pretty frightening to see how that's starting to play out. So, look, man, as always, you're always welcome to come on the show. Every time you come on, you bring some insightful stuff. And for anybody out there that thinks that, this guy's got a grudge against, anybody out there, I mean, only grudge he'll show it to you is on the field, not personally.
You're right. You're right about that.
Well, look, man, I appreciate you coming on. As always, I'll be in touch.
All right, man. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, hang tight, folks. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, more with myself, Lake Lewis, right here on the Lake Lewis Show. Hang tight. All right.
That's a good pour. Frosty glass, perfect amount of foam.
Thanks, Coach.
How's your Bloody Mary?
Spicy?
Wings?
Always fresh, never frozen.
All right. Who's the primary on Spider 2Z Snag?
It's the fullback out of the backfield. If he gets jammed, I'm heading the flanker on a curl route.
You're good.
I know.
Huddle up at Hooters. Why would you go anywhere else, man?
Attention if you have diabetes.
Hello, I'm Alan Thicke. As the father of a child with diabetes, it's important that I keep up to date with the latest in treatments and technology. That's why I'm happy to tell you about a breakthrough in diabetes care through CCS Medical. You don't need to stick your fingers anymore. This new meter allows you to test on your arm, so it's virtually pain-free. Plus, it uses gold test strips. Real laser-etched gold in every strip provides the ideal testing surface for one of the most accurate readings possible. Best of all, CCS Medical can send you this meter at no cost. With CCS Medical, they deliver your diabetes supplies to your home. They work with Medicare or your insurance to process the paperwork. They even have nurses certified in diabetes available to answer questions. And for a limited time, CCS Medical will also send you a diabetes ID bracelet. All this from a company trusted and recommended by thousands of doctors around the country. Call CCS Medical today.
Want clear skin all over? Well, get set, because Proactive's Deep Cleansing Body Wash is back. And so is free shipping. 2 hot summer deals. Now Proactive clears acne on your face and body, so you feel confident all over. And the body wash is yours free when you order Proactive today.
The Deep Cleansing Wash, it really exfoliates the skin. I use that on my arms, my legs, my chest.
My skin was smoother. It got rid of the small little bumps on my shoulders and back.
Proactive has a $40 value, but with today's special offer, pay just $19.95, and your shipping is free. Plus, get the Deep Cleansing Wash free to polish your skin to perfection.
I went out and bought a little spaghetti strap dress, and it was a really amazing feeling.
Act fast, and we'll add a free travel-size green tea moisturizer. Don't wait. Order Proactive today and get free shipping, but only for a limited time.
Dear Bowflex, I dropped 8 dress sizes, 36 pounds, and all I had to do was walk.
This is the Bowflex Tread Climber Machine, the easiest way to walk and burn up to twice the calories in less time. By combining the motion of a treadmill, a stepper, and an elliptical, you get the calorie-burning benefits of all 3 workouts at once.
I lost 30 pounds in 4 months. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Call now for your free DVD and information kit. You'll see how the Tread Climber burns up to twice the calories of a treadmill. Plus, you'll learn how you can own a Tread Climber machine today with special financing for 18 months.
Within the first couple of weeks, I started to lose inches. I lost 50 pounds in 3 months using the Tread Climber.
Call or go online to buytc.com for your free info kit. We'll also send you the Bowflex Insider's Guide with a personal fitness assessment to help you jumpstart your Bowflex body today. Absolutely free.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bowflex.
Sincerely, J.D. Weber.
Car owners, does your vehicle have less than 120,000 miles on it? Is it less than 10 years old? Is your current auto warranty about to expire? Well, Cover America Auto Care has a very special offer just for you. With current economic conditions causing bankruptcies and a downturn in new car sales, Cover America Auto Care now offers inexpensive mechanical breakdown coverage direct to the public. You can save thousands of dollars on auto repairs. A toll-free line has been made available so car owners can call and get a free no-obligation quote. This auto protection is backed by an A-rated insurance carrier. Plus, you get a claims department that has an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. 24-hour emergency roadside assistance is also included. You will be amazed at how much you can save on future car repair bills. So call for your free, no-obligation quote now. Do not wait. Get covered today and rest easy tonight.